Hello, hello everyone. Welcome back to our AI-centric universe here on YouTube. So we changed our name on AI Horizon. Share please in comment. Maybe you would like to see another name because we still have 14 days to rechange this name. Today we are diving into some truly groundbreaking topics in the world of artificial intelligence. First of all, we want to talk about smart GPT prompts, how to build a smart uh, GPT, OpenAI updates, agents, and what's the difference between agents and another AI models. We have got the brilliant mind of Maxim, CEO of SymbiotAI.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey Maxim, it's nice to see you again here with us. Um, and we will be navigating those exciting developments with him. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's embark on this enlightening journey together. So let's start from the first topic, OpenAI Store success. OpenAI launched the GPT Store and tried to help you find useful and popular custom versions of ChatGPT. So, based on the exciting announcement about the GPT Store, I have one question to you, Maxim. What do you think about that update from OpenAI side?
It's interesting update, but still not something what I was expected, because still, at least for me, it looks like something which is not super useful because it's hard to find some GPT for your concrete problem, for your concrete use case. So the search they provide, well, it's for this at this moment, it's a little bit poor, and there is no way to look through all the GPTs. But in general, idea is pretty good because we had kind of same idea in the SymbiotAI, and like it's really nice to share your uh, things which you're doing and share it with other people. I think it's pretty good, and it's possible to write some system prompt to customize the model itself. It's a way to upload some knowledge base add to the GPT, and it's possible to call the external API to get external data. So yeah, it's pretty nice in general, and I think it has a big future.
Yeah, for sure, Maxim. Uh, okay, I think for our audience, the topic can be very advanced, and I want to ask you, Maxim, like a little bit general question because it's like most relevant question because I've got almost from everyone the question how to build your own GPT. How do you use ChatGPT? How you are getting such a great answer? If you're considered building your own GPT, what kind of GPT would you create? Could you please share some tricks with us how to write more right prompts to get a good answer from ChatGPT?
Yeah, so in general, if you'd like to create good GPT, first of all, you need to think that the best way is solving your own problem. So if you have your own problem, try to create a GPT for it. If you using the chat GPT for the same things many times, you're catching yourself that you're writing the same text every single time, multiple times. Just create a custom GPT for it. And it's not so hard because the OpenAI provides the builder, GPT builder, which will help for you. You can just tell that, okay, I want to build a GPT for my use case. I don't know, maybe for example, you're learning programming and you would like to create a GPT which will help you to learn the programming. So just go in the creator, ask, I want to create a GPT for help me to learn Python, for example. And it will start to ask you some questions, and answering these questions, you will create it and it will fit it for you. and just try to use it for yourself. Just make it really good for yourself. And after that, when you will create it with Creator, you can go in the configuration part and see the system prompt, see how it's configured, and so on. And then when you create it, and maybe you'll improve it, like you can share, you can just make it public. If you don't want to hide it from someone, you just can make it public, and maybe one of your GPT will be useful for someone. Because for now, I believe that they will do a lot of updates, and they will make it um, more ways to find your GPT just run by random people. Because for now, I would say it's near to impossible to find some small GPT because it's sorted by usage, I would say, and but I think soon it will be the same. For example, how you're doing some post in the social network and other people see it. So the GPTs, I would expect that it would be the same. So just create it, such stuff. You can create it for yourself, solve the problem. If it solves it good for you, maybe it will solve it for another things. Regarding my tries with it, for example, I was doing and before they launched Store, they launched the kind of preview of GPTs, and I was able to create a GPT without listing. And I was creating, for example, for a job when I wanted to create a course for Terraform. I created spatial GPT because I not course but questions for Terraform. I would like to form all the questions in the same format. So I describe the format I want to build. I describe what that I'm doing the questions, and I just adding some topics, and the GPT just answered with the correct in the correct format. Just give me some questions, answers, and so on. So yeah, it's just a example how you can do it. You can create some for example, helpers for some concrete tasks. As I said, for development, it's super cool. I don't know, maybe for you as a Scrum Master, it will be cool because you can create some GPT which will help you to write some user stories, maybe to going through some Scrum meetings and so on. Yeah, so it's just
Yeah,
sky the
usually I'm
limit.
creating speeches, yeah, for some text for presentation, etc. It's also very, very helpful. But you need to be very concrete with ChatGPT. As much concrete you will be, so is much better answer you will get from ChatGPT. And for sure, you need to let it know who you want to see. Uh, like you can start your prompt like act as a some specialist, act as a scrum master or developer with 20 years of experience, something like that, or act as a doctor. I have headache, what I can do today, etc. So it's like a small trick from my side.
Yeah, and other thing that if, for example, you have some API which you would like to provide to someone, yeah, you can use the integration of actions from GPT, and you can provide the API access through the chat interface for someone. It's other use case which is pretty useful as well.
Yeah, for sure. As you mentioned, Maxim, about OpenAI policy. So OpenAI quietly deletes ban on using ChatGPT for military and warfare. What is that? Do you know something on that topic?
Well, they didn't do any releases. We can just speculate about the reasons, but it opens some cases. For example, for war in Ukraine, I think it's pretty nice that they deleted it because startups can start to use it. for example, to analyze the battlefields, to analyze, to collect the information about the militaries, moving of the militaries of enemy, and for example, we have a lot of video from the drones. So like militaries has a lot of videos from the drones, and it can help them to analyze all these things. For example, OpenAI has the vision API, and for example, if they will find that some movement from the enemy side, they will be able to figure out that something happens, and it will help to make better decisions and save a lot of lives as a help.
Okay, and for sure, Maxim, I want to raise that topic on our next videos about war in Ukraine. I think it will be very, very interesting for all our audience when it will be finished, or your prognosis regarding to the situation which we have at that moment. So subscribe our channel and let's be connected. And the second and not second question. I'm not counting how much questions do we have. I heard something about GPT Builder Revenue Program. For those interested in the upcoming GPT Builder Revenue program, what kind of GPTs do you think would engage users the most?
Yeah, so first of all, well, most of the people expected it wrong. Uh, I told it for everyone before, and as I expected, they run it not in the way that you can put some price on your GPT, but they will analyze the engagement of users and make a revenue for this one. So you're attracting more people, it means you'll be rewarded more. So they will do some profit sharing model. It means that yeah, for now it's only for United States. It's not for everyone. So as a lot of people uh, promised in on YouTube and all the kind of guys who doing the videos, you'll do the $millions, just create some stupid GPT and attract so many attention of these, and for now people just lose all the hopes because everyone expected that they will make a lot of money from it just immediately, but no, no, unfortunately it's impossible. And yeah, like thing is here that the best GPTs, it will be something which brings a lot of value and which harder to produce. So it's not a thing that you can create some super simple stuff and just earning money. Maybe yes, maybe for short term yes. I would like to compare it with the application store like Google Play Market or App Store of Apple. There are a lot of applications in there. A lot of people try to earn money on it, but well, doing real money, it's just a real small percent of it. Maybe somebody can earn some few dollars, something like this, but most of people don't, because well, you really need to create something important, and or something which just be for, I don't know, create some Flappy Birds, like something like this. So maybe it will rise for some period of time or some short period of time, but in general, like if you're creating something useful for people, it will be used by them and you'll earn money probably. But if you create something which anyone can recreate for just a couple of seconds, nobody will pay you and you won't engage a lot of people. So yeah, just solving the problems as usual.
Mhm. Maxim, do you know something about OpenAI releases? what's the last update they have? Maybe the last release they have. Maybe something interesting you want to share.
You mean about um,
OpenAI.
you mean about their models? Well, last time they released the GPT 4, 4 Turbo and 5 Turbo. So these models was had an update that they add the information to 2023, I think. I don't remember the month, but it's a little bit more relevant data, not the latest, but much more relevant. So the GPTs a little bit cheaper from the API perspective. The ChatGPT as well knows more information, and it's a little bit faster. The generation is a little bit faster. And other thing, like big thing, is a increasing of the context. So input context for the GPT model, it's 120k or something more than 100k tokens, which is much bigger context because before it was I think 16k, so it's almost 10 times more. So yeah, what it means, it means that your chat can be longer and like the model will see the longer chat. Yeah, so that's one thing which how it affects.
So, do you think if much longer it should be better?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like the model will know, like it will forget your dialogue much uh, for much a long time. You know, it will remember better. Other thing that for now kind of speculation. There is no official update. There is no information how to work, but people said that GPT gonna introduce the memory, and the ChatGPT will remember what you're talking about with him and how you interact with it. With the chat, like remember more information about yourself and so on. So yeah, it's a cool feature. I also will want to introduce this thing in SymbiotAI. So mostly they're moving by our roadmap.
It's awesome or not really, but we
Yeah,
have an
it's awesome. It's awesome. It means that we're moving in the right direction as well.
yeah, for sure. Just from my curiosity, Maxim, you mentioned something from speculation. Did you try speculation in your past or in your
No,
professional life previously?
speculation. I mean, is just we don't know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes, I understand. I understand what you mean, but I want to ask you something. Maybe you, because as I know that you was trading a lot, so did you try that method in trading previously in your past?
Well, like any trade, it kind of speculation. So you're trying to buy buy cheap, sell not cheap. Like say high, sell high, and buy low. It's always like this. Sometimes for a lot of people it's opposite because like most of people buying when it's hype for something and not buying anything when it's everyone say oh it's scam. So yeah, as one
So it's better to try when everyone is saying that is scam.
yeah like it's a good rule when you want to understand when you should sell. When your grandma came to you and asked if, for example, should I buy Bitcoin? It's time to sell.
Great example. Okay, let's back to OpenAI. From your enterprise level, I want to ask you a tricky question. It's not tricky so much, but maybe very interesting. Do you have any suggestions or feedback for OpenAI regarding the GPT Store and another features and other updates, releases, which we see right now? If you will have the chance to share feedback to OpenAI, what you will recommend?
Yeah, so first of all, what I see they need to improve the access to the GPTs. For example, recommend GPT in the chat. So you're talking, uh, user talks with ChatGPT with main model, and you can just suggest, okay, for this propose, you can use this GPT. It would be much more uh, much more useful for user because you don't think, okay, I need to find the GPT which will solve this problem, but you're trying to ask something for GPT, and it can like find like of ChatGPT, like the main model, and it can just suggest you to use some GPT for these proposes. So it's one thing. About the memory, I would suggest them to create blocks of memory, which we also would want to create in the SymbiotAI. So it means not a single memory for a user, but make user to choose which block of memory I would say to use for now, because every person has different sides of themselves, and if you would like to put everything in there, it will be a little bit more complex and it will be less relevant information. But well, who knows? Maybe they will do it better. Other thing uh, about GPTs itself, well, I would be interested in the thing when people will integrate other AI models in the GPT. For example, you will have an access, I don't know, Gemini GPT. It will be funny. Yeah. So they can think about this, how they how they will act of it. Other thing, like they introduce the teams for the OpenAI, and after that they didn't introduce just team chats. So you can put the billing on the same account, I would say, but not really more of it. But I really think that team chats is a really good thing. And for example, we're gonna implement these things in SymbiotAI. So probably they will take this idea soon. They always steal our ideas, but I don't mind.
For sure, you're never mind. Um, and I have one message to our audience. We would like to hear your thoughts and experience regarding OpenAI and different AI models or ChatGPT. Did you try to write prompts? Are they really smart and you was getting the right answers from those models? Share please your comments below and let's dive into the discussion. So the next topic we have about Microsoft's Windows Copilot. This integration seems like a long-term game changer. Maxim, how do you foresee the impact of AI like this in everyday computing? Because I know that you're using Copilot in your professional life.
Yeah. We need to we need to split here the two definitions because Microsoft, well, I understand why, but they created a little bit mess here with namings because they introduced two products as a copilot. First product, it's GitHub Copilot, which on the market for some time. I think it's more than a year. I believe maybe it was introduced even before the ChatGPT and all this hype. And I'm using it from the early beta. And first time I had an access to it, I use it from this time, and it's helping me to write a lot of code and help me with coding. Other Copilot, it's a Windows Copilot, which is helper with the tools inside of Windows. with programs and so on. And they started to introduce it, kind of replacement for their, I would say that it's kind of replacement for their voice assistant, which they tried before, but I think it was Cortana, called Cortana or something like this, but it wasn't like really nice. But for now, they're trying to introduce this chats mode. I don't know if they have this voice mode, and at least for now, as I heard, I didn't use it yet, but um, it has pretty poor functionality. But in general, the movement in this direction is pretty cool because you can uh, interact with your system with natural language, I would say. So you can ask to, for example, change some settings, interact with some applications, uh, do some actions inside the applications, everything using voice. And yeah, it's kind of new interface. Sorry, not voice, but like in general, natural language, I would say, because you can use your voice, you can use text. It's kind of same thing because, well, literally saying your voice converting to the text anyway, because OpenAI models are not multimodal yet. They're just using the multiple different AIs, I would say, like different models to convert from one modality to another. For example, from voice to text, and then it, do the actions. Yeah, so it's cool. For now, it's not so cool. But in the future, it will be better and better. From the Copilot perspective, it writes a lot of code. For now, they like GitHub Copilot. They released the Copilot chat, which I started to use and using more and more. For example, it's pretty nice that I can select some, I don't know, line of code which is pretty hard to understand, where people like put a lot of complexity in one line or a few lines of code, and I can just select these lines and say explain it to me in a simple English, and it explained this code to me. And the good thing that it can see the context, like it can see not only these lines but more context. uh, and the good thing here that I don't need to like copy some text, go in the chat GPT, put it in there. Like it saves time, so it's cool. I would say that from my perspective, the GitHub Copilot is a little bit better than Windows Copilot at this point of time, but I didn't use it much, so it's hard to say.
Yeah. So you provided one example with Copilot. Uh, if Copilot is explaining for you what is going on inside that code, if it's really difficult to understand, what else could you else provide more examples how Copilot can benefit you in your daily work?
Yeah, like I can say that not only explain, but for example, let's add some functionality to the code in the given file, or let's check some other files as well. So it understands that if I say that, okay, check other files, so it can do some things. I don't really know the full functionality it's available. uh, like I'm just trying to do some different stuff, some stuff working, some stuff not. But in general, like you can ask to write some new functionality, you can ask to rewrite some existing functionality, you can ask to write some tests, you can put uh, some new, like ask to write some functionality based on some other classes you have in your um, in your project. So yeah, the main thing that Copilot sees your project and it knows how to extract this information. But yeah, for now it's simple tool. It's still pretty simple tool. They had really good announcement how it will look like for, I don't know, maybe half of the year or a year ago. But for now, it's poor comparing to their announcement. Like you can't talk with the Copilot, and it's not starting the pipelines. It's not starting the tests. For example, it's not controlling the IDE yet. But in general, it will be in the future, I hope.
Yeah, sure. So it seems like you're saving a lot of time with Copilot. So could you please tell how it was in the past and how much time do you spend on writing the same part of code right now with Copilot?
And so for now, there are a few cases, like uh, at least two cases that you can write your code in the IDE, and it starts to autocomplete, like make a suggestion how it we can complete this code, and usually it's based on your existing code in this file or in other files, and it's one case. It's really useful and I'm using it for a long time. Second thing is GitHub Copilot chat, where I can ask the questions in natural language about the existing code and ask to write something, explain something, maybe ask for the error, like, but still need to copy paste from, I don't know, console and ask. For example, I have this code, I have this error, like fix it to me. Yeah, and sometimes it helps. Like sometimes it really helps because I don't need to go in Google and like search for some error, and sometimes it helps. Not not always. It's really sometimes.
Yeah. So you believe in that try and you can try at least.
Yeah, like I can ask, I can try. If it doesn't work, I know, try to solve it another way. I don't know, Google it or write another query, write it by myself or so on. But yeah, it's definitely save a lot of time because, for example, I have a lot of code. I know that I need to write the similar pieces of code, especially when you need to write the similar pieces of code. It's just save a lot of time because you just like, it's often you're just clicking enter, and because you just added the field in another class in another file, and you already produce the similar fields in the similar way, it knows that okay, we need to write this code to process this field as well. And most, like in 90% of time, I didn't really modify it. Like, for example, I wrote the first thing, and then it just write me in other things. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you can modify, like optimize the code, and yeah, it's, by the way, it save the time that you don't really need to optimize something sometimes, because sometimes for not writing a lot of code by hands, you're starting to think, okay, how can I avoid it and optimize it somehow to not write the similar code many times. I repeat the kind of same code, and not often it helps. Not sometimes it's really, it would better to write it multiple times in the same way. And for now, it's easier. For now, it will be just auto generated, and you need to think about it. And if you will need to change it, you will just select the code and tell, okay, I need to introduce these changes for all the fields at once. It will rewrite this code and you can just copy it.
Sounds brilliant. Would you recommend Copilot to developers, like for juniors or mid-level or
Yeah,
senior level?
yeah, definitely, definitely. It can help for any level. For example, when you don't know some concepts of the code, it can suggest you some completely different concepts. For juniors, it can explain some code because juniors doesn't understand this code. Like doesn't understand more code. When you're learning new languages, it helps a lot because for find some tricks in the code, you need to read a lot of Google and read a lot of documentation and so on. But here you can just take this code, you completely don't know, but if you're a senior guy, you understand this code more or less, but some concept you don't understand. I don't know. There are some symbols, and they're doing something, and you have no idea because you don't never write this language. So you just select this code and say, explain it to me. Or you're starting to write something, and it just suggests you the completion of this code. And I think, okay, there is some language construction I never used. You see that it's generated, but for example, you see it works. Or for example, you already wrote the test for the code, and it generates you implementation for this test, which like solving your test, I would say. Or in another direction, I mean, you can ask to you can start to writing the tests and it can generate the implementation, or another way, like you can generate the implementation and ask to write the test. So there are a lot of suggestion how you can use it for senior people as well. Like you can ask, for example, to analyze the code if there is no bugs, if there is no missed cases. As usual, sky's the limit.
Yes, agree. Um, what do you think about juniors' frustration if, for example, juniors will use Copilot or ChatGPT during interviews? How it will affect on their career or on their I don't know, that level of knowledge like you had previously because you was learning a lot. You you write a lot of code, you write a lot of projects, programs. But what do you think? How Copilot or ChatGPT will affect on those juniors' career?
Well, no, I had the opinion that even for like before all AI stuff, one of the most important skill for developers it's ability to Google stuff. For now, the ability to build something using LLMs it's even more crucial because you save your time. You're getting the ability to learn much faster. You're getting ability to write better code, more more quality code. You have an ability to understand the code better. You have an ability to improve your skills much faster, to know more libraries. Like you don't need to you really don't need to learn everything. You have an access to the LLM and it gives you an access to big amount of knowledge. And like for me, I see it like this: the company which will test person on the interview with Copilot or with AI, like the people who will include the in the interview process using of AI by candidates, not only in programming but in every single part, like every single profession. This company will win. Like it's kind of the same when people start to test candidates, like companies started to test candidates if they are knowing internet, I would say. So if they can use computer, I don't know, if they can typing on the computer. So at some time it was important and it was a part of interview, like testing if you know something. Like I don't know if you can use Word or Excel and other tools on computer, if you know how to send email, because it was time when most of the world didn't know how to send emails. So for now, it's even more important. the skill to use LLM is more important, because sending email, you need to learn there is a button. I click this button and it sends the email. So it's pretty low amount of cases you can use. But LLM, it's much more harder. It's much more flexible. And I would do the interviews with AI. I would include it in the interview process. I think we will
Sometimes
include
when I think,
in the Symbiot.
yeah, sometimes when I'm using different models and where I'm getting a nice request, sorry, response, uh, and when I think and I see it's really nice, I think, oh, I'm God. So my confidence is growing up. But sometimes I'm thinking that uh, ChatGPT or another models can that I can become more stupid with it. Is it true?
I would say like this: using any tool, usually like people using tools for make their life easier. And if you will use it and stop in it, like if you have some set of problems, you solve these problems and you stop to learn new things. Yes, like people will do, like will become stupid. But if they solve their problems, and then using these solutions they can go and solve much more complex problems, like another level of complexity, completely another level, much higher level of complexity. In this case, they became smarter. They Their ability to solving problems is growing, because if you're solving the same problem, the same set of problems you were solving many years ago, and you're happy that you're super smart and you can solve it, yeah, that's cool. Because, okay, for example, in past, people, like we had a lot of people sitting in the rooms to do the calculations, to do the math. And for now we can do it on our smartphone, much more complex calculations. So do we became like is it mean that we became stupid? No, we didn't. We didn't become stupid, but we're solving much more complex problems. For example, we're analyzing the space for much more complex, like much deeper. We can see the planets near the stars, for which are billions years away from us, billions light years away from us. And yeah, like that's the thing. We're solving the more complex problems. In this case, we became smarter. If we're not solving more complex problems, we're not became smarter.
Exactly. So it's nothing to worry about, at least today. Uh, tell me, please, Maxim, something about those agents you mentioned today on our SymbiotAI meeting. What is that? Because I learned only one thing from today, that it's something different from AI models. So, what is that from the beginning, and why it's better than AI models, or something complex?
Yeah, it's agents, AI agents. It's a little bit more complex thing, because AI model, it's a static model. AI model, when some company creates the AI model, it trains this model, and then we can use this model to make some predictions. So writing the text, generate the images, do a lot of different stuff. But this model itself, it's not modifying itself. It doesn't have any access to the real world. It have no idea the real world exists. So the world is freezed for them. It's freezed for the second which they are getting the data from this world. It's kind of snapshot of the world, and this is the world model. So there's no future for them. Agents, it's kind of way to break this limitation of AI model. What does it mean? It means that we're creating some additional data for the model and give this model before we asking them. We're giving some information, additional information before it. We're giving the possibility to interact with the world. For example, calling some functions or execution some functions. We're giving the ability to extract some information from the world. For example, getting the weather data, getting the stock price, getting the information about the person which this model talks with. So when we're adding these functionalities, like different spatial abilities, for example, memory, functions, or skills, we're doing some other tweaks with the model. It's called agent. So this thing which has different stuff around the model which helps this model to interact with the world, usually it's called AI agent.
Mm-hmm. It's more or less clear. Okay.
If you have
I
some other questions, you can ask
Yeah, for
while
sure.
explaining.
About agents, probably I will share some thoughts and questions on our next video.
Sure.
I think we can wrap up for today, Maxim, and thank you so much for your answers and for your time as well.
Thanks. Thank you to having me here.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone, it's your turn to share your thoughts, experience, and maybe even some AI-driven dreams. If As our channel is very fresh, we really need your support. And don't forget, hit the like button here. Share with your friends and subscribe for more insightful AI conversations. Stay curious, stay informed, and let's shape the future of AI together. Thank you so much, and bye now.
Bye, guys.
Bye.